So I think many gamers out there, including myself, have been questioning the Nintendo Switch 2023 games lineup more and more now that we are past Tears of the Kingdom. We have no official communication or confirmation of any kind of summertime Nintendo Direct presentation, and we only know of Pikmin 4 on the horizon for the official Nintendo Switch games roadmap. Granted, Metroid Prime 4 sitting out there as well, but until we get another Nintendo Direct, many people aren't expecting to hear anything from that game, which begs the question as we finish out the second half of 2023, what does Nintendo have in the holster? And in today's video, we have to discuss a brand new report from Famitsu that further backs up what many notable names in the industry have been suggesting, which is that Tears of the Kingdom may indeed have been something of a swan song for the Nintendo Switch from a first-party major new software release for Nintendo, and we may see more supplemental third-party titles when it comes to what will propel the Nintendo Switch through the rest of this year. And I want to break down the exact comments in the article and get on the same page around what, if anything, this suggests when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2023 software release schedule going forward. What's up, nation? Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your bell notification if you haven't already. And as mentioned, guys, today we are once again discussing what's on the horizon for the Nintendo Switch when it comes to new game releases, because I myself am still thoroughly enjoying my playthrough of Tears of the Kingdom. I think I'm going to cross 120 hours in the game when it comes to completing my first entire playthrough, maybe even going further than that if I really want to get crazy and try to 100% everything. But many gamers, including myself, at some point in time will want to move on to what is next. We know Pikmin 4 is in the holster for mid-July, and past that we have no communication in terms of first-party Nintendo titles. Now, this entire video could take a big turn if we get some kind of Nintendo Direct announced for the month of June, especially if it is a first-party focused mainline general Nintendo Direct. And that is the big question on many gamers' minds right now, is whether or not it will be that traditional E3 style presentation that we've seen them align with that event in years past, or if it will be what we saw last year, which was a mini partner showcase towards the end of June and maybe a game specific direct here or there. They could absolutely do that for something like Pikmin 4 as we get closer to its release. But the reason this story is in the news today actually has to do with a recent Famitsu article that has been being shared around online, suggesting that Nintendo's bigger software plan for the rest of 2023 may indeed be focused around a lot of third-party titles. You may have remembered headlines going around months and months back before Tears of the Kingdom release that a lot of the notable names, Andy Robinsons and Jeff Grubbs of the world, kind of saying that what they're hearing is that Nintendo has a lighter summer planned or a lighter games lineup following Tears of the Kingdom. And it was said by one gaming journalist, I believe from IGN, that the last quote-unquote heavy hitter for Nintendo on the Switch was indeed Tears of the Kingdom. Now, Andy Robinson also backed that up after those claims were making the rounds online, but later went back to say maybe it wouldn't be the true swan song for the Switch, and rather there would be a gap in big releases, and that towards the end of 2023, we may indeed be able to expect some big games all over again. And while we'll have to wait and see what ultimately happens, this Famitsu article is fascinating to me in the sense that it does further back up the strategy that Nintendo could be leaning on, which is their third-party partner support to get them through this kind of end of the current Switch's life cycle and take us into what is next, or just get us through this lull while we are waiting for some kind of big holiday game to be announced and released for the Nintendo Switch. And to first get on the same page with exactly what's being claimed here, let's quickly hop over to My Nintendo News and read through their detailed typed up article together. Famitsu promising third-party games expected to launch on Switch later this year. Famitsu has published information in a new Japanese online seminar, which was hosted by Koichi Hamura, that's probably not how you say that, senior advisor for digital entertainment at Kadokawa, which is titled The Current Status and Prospects of the Game Industry in Spring 2023, the game industry towards Season 2. The event naturally talked about the big console makers and has revealed that Nintendo has a number of promising games from third parties due out later this year. It should be noted that last year's event was apparently spot on. The exact quote reads, "In addition to Nintendo, a number of promising titles are scheduled for release from third parties. Another strength of Nintendo Switch is that not only new titles, but also older titles are still selling well. The reason for this is that even after release, additional DLC and expansion passes are regularly distributed and are always promoted in the same way as new titles. Now, what's interesting about major third-party games and the Nintendo Switch recently is we've actually seen a number of either delays or just straight-up cancellations around this. You may remember that Hogwarts Legacy was going to be one of the big summertime games for the Nintendo Switch, as it would be finally getting its port launching live on the platform, and we now have to wait until November for that to come out. We then had Marvel Midnight Suns actually be entirely scrapped and canceled, and we've even seen a large number of Resident Evil remake games just ported over as cloud ports. Not only that, Kingdom Hearts, the infamous outlier in the room where the entire series came over as a cloud port, even though many of those could have easily been ported if given the development time on Switch hardware. We also recently got the announcement that Mortal Kombat 1, the reboot for Mortal Kombat, will be coming to the Nintendo Switch, and that is slated for September right now, although we don't know if there might be unforeseen hurdles in developments and eventual delays if things don't go as planned. And if we don't have new hardware, it is graphically impressive when you look at the footage on other platforms. Granted, it's all CG with what we've really seen in detail so far, but that said, I think when you look at Mortal Kombat 11 and how they successfully ported that to the Switch, minus some small fan complaints online, the game seems to run really well and looks really well at that, and you definitely can get a number of AAA third-party developed games to run on Switch, but you have to jump through some tricky development hoops to do so, and a lot of time those resources and dollars are not spent on doing so. So if we are talking about a lot of native third-party games that will be making their ways to the Switch to kind of hype up the release roadmap schedule while we're waiting on Nintendo to reveal either first-party games for the Switch or the successor to the Switch, that's great news. But if it is something that we are in a situation where we have cloud ports, or we get games that have initial reveal and launch dates, but we continue to see them pushed back due to development issues, that's a whole nother issue at that point. There were some long-standing rumors that games like the Batman Arkham series and even Dark Souls 2, potentially 3, I think 2 was the biggest one that was in the rumor mill speculation talk, but those were supposed to be headed to the Switch and we never saw them released. Those are also games that could show up at something like a partner mini showcase, and I personally think that with this latest Famitsu article and the suggestion that Nintendo has a lot of third-party games in the holster for this middle part and end part of 2023, I think it further backs up the fact that we will likely see Nintendo hold that mini partner showcase as opposed to a mainline direct over the summertime. I hope I'm wrong in that. I would love to have a mainline Nintendo Direct to look forward to during this what would have been E3/Summer Games Fest time window, but I think it is safer to err on the side of caution and temper your expectations for a lot of different third-party ports and support for the Nintendo Switch, and hopefully it all makes it to market as native ports and in a reasonable time frame. But until we get that big September fall time Nintendo Direct and maybe hear about some new console hardware, we might not hear anything major from Nintendo from a first-party perspective at this point in time. But I really want to hear from you guys at this point in the video, your personal thoughts and opinions around this. Do you think that Famitsu is on to anything here with their report suggesting that Nintendo Switch has a lot of big third-party games lined up for the rest of 2023? And which third-party games do you want to see make it over to the platform if this is indeed the case? And where do you land on this entire Nintendo Direct rumor mill speculation talk? Do you think we get a mainline presentation this year in June, or do you think it's something that does once again do a repeat of last year and a mini partner showcase towards the end of June is actually what we see Nintendo stick to, and you really shouldn't look forward to anything until something like a September Direct when it comes to new first party Nintendo announcements? So regardless of your thoughts and feelings on everything we talked about today, I do look forward to hearing from you all in the comments down below before you leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Go watch yesterday's video next if you haven't already, which is on screen right now. Also make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.